These new Specialized Creo models are super lightweight, super fast, speed pedal X, and they've got this new like range extender. I'm gonna go through all the details like we do, just super thorough on that. And we're gonna have an awesome ride all the way out to that dam way out there. We went there yesterday, we scoped it out. We actually took this, it's kind of like a gravel bike. You look at the tires, flared bars. We've even got a dropper seat post, which I'm kind of mixed on. Got the range extender, everything. We're gonna go through it. Thanks for being here, man. This is just awesome.
Well, we made it, guys. That's where we came from. How are you feeling? We were on this gravelly stuff here.
You know, it was actually pretty compliant, pretty comfortable. I was surprised. I didn't have any suspension seat post or anything, and that carbon frame really soaked up a lot of the gravel bumpies.
When they've got this like Future Shock 2.0 that the bikes come with, and it's adjustable, so it's got kind of a compression and rebound all in one. In my experience, if you twist it all the way to the left, there's a little bit of rebound where it just slowly comes back up, but otherwise it's just how soft it is. And for me too, that's really, it's making a big difference. And of course I'm on the gravel grinder version here with the slightly wider tires. Come down here, 700 by 38C, good traction. I'm sorry, Charlie, we left you with these slicks. I was impressed, man, and thank you for taking that one for the team. It's amazing to me. I mean, this is just a little bit over 29 pounds. This one's 31.6 pounds. We were like, well, what's the difference? And I think part of it is those wider handlebars kind of flared out like that. Part of it is it's got this dropper seat post right here. So this is not a suspension post, it's a dropper post. That definitely adds a little bit of weight, and it sort of, it fits with this like slightly off-road setup. But on the other hand, Specialized has this like cobble gobbler, not really a suspension seat post, but it's like, it's carbon fiber, and it kind of...
It's carbon fiber. It's got a carbon fiber spring with a little elastomer damper in there that they sort of moved away from, but is a great way to get just a little bit more compliance.
You and I, we're talking like, it'd be nice to have a cobble gobbler on this one right here. Yeah. I haven't really used the dropper post very much. And it really depends on how aggressive you want to go off-road. And then the colors. I mean, I really love the way this looks. You know, Specialized is great at that. They're really sexy bikes, and they've got the little bar ends there calling out. Carbon fiber fork, carbon fiber. This is like the 11R, so it's multiple layers. It's really strong, which is nice because the bikes are heavier than a traditional road bike. Not by much, though. I mean, this is like a 4.3 pound motor and then roughly 4 pound main battery that's right there in that down tube. Not designed to be removable. And when you think about the older turbos, like the Turbo Levo and stuff, they actually have a removable down tube battery pack. This can be removed, but you really got to go in there with tools and stuff. It's the kind of thing where it stays in the bike. And look how beautiful these bikes are. I am genuinely impressed. I really don't have a lot of complaints about these bikes. You know, I'm going to go through the specs and stuff, but this is what I'd always imagined that an electric bike could be. Years ago, when I started in 2012, I bought kind of a heavy flexi electric bike that I spent a lot on it. I mean, $2,000 at the time felt like a lot, but it was just using kind of generic parts, really low-level stuff. It didn't come in 6 frame sizes, which this does. Certainly, this one actually comes in 2 colorways. So we're kind of covering both of these because this is the Specialized Turbo Creo SL, which is talking about that lightweight motor. And then this is the Comp Carbon EVO. That's the kind of cross bike. And then this is just as a Comp Carbon, right? So there is one level lower, that's 5,000. These ones are $6,500. So
that's right.
It's definitely a step up from my first e-bike at $2 grand, but that was not a road bike. It didn't have all these really nice upgrades. And frankly, you can spend that much easily just on a traditional road bike without the assist system.
Easily.
And then they've got several steps up too. So you can go to like Expert. They even have like all the way up to S-Works. Super nice stuff. It's neat to get to try these bikes back to back and just, you know, suss out the differences between the setups, the loadouts. I'm going to come back to this one here. Different crank sizes, crank arms, depending on the frame size that you get. Narrow wide aluminum alloy chain ring right there. So narrow wide, the chain's not going to bounce off quite as easily. Really nice rubber slap guard. That's important because of the carbon fiber frame. 11 speed, 11 to 42 tooth cassette back here. Shimano GRX derailleur Shadow Plus. So it's tucked in nicely. We are getting some dirt and sand on these demo bikes. It's nice that they're letting us take them for a ride. And then we've got that one-way clutch. So if you push it down, it's going to make this wheel easier to remove or do drivetrain maintenance. Up, it's not going to bounce as much. It's tighter, tightens the spring. And for a speed pedelec, these are class 3. That was the other thing that I was really excited and hopeful for the first time I rode an electric bike. It was like, I want to go fast. I can definitely top 20 miles per hour, 32 kilometers per hour on my own power, you know, but that it kind of gets exhausting. So if I can go that fast why not do it more frequently, you know, and really enjoy myself? And that's the magic of these bikes. I mean, they're super lightweight, really well balanced, and they feature all the same just design elements that you'd want to see on a traditional bicycle. We've got 2 bottle cage bosses here, and we actually have the Z cage set up right there because that interfaces with this range extender battery pack. It's lower capacity. They say the main battery over there is roughly 320 watt hours. When you actually do the math, it's closer to 331 watt hours. Maybe they were just trying to play it safe. And then this one's about 160 watt hours. So, you know, both of them 48 volts though. Pretty nice, definitely noticeable. When I was looking at the specs for this bike, I was a little bit concerned. I was like, man, that's kind of underwhelming. 240 watts on that motor. I'm used to seeing, you know, 350 plus. 250 is sort of the European standard, and that's sort of their regulated limit. In the US, we can go all the way up to 750. So 240, I was like, I hope this is good, but at least it's lightweight. Let's see how it goes. And then the rated Newton meters of torque is just 35.
Very low for what comparatively on an e-bike.
Yeah, but again, it's a road bike. So it was like, well, let's see. And I am genuinely impressed. I mean, seriously, like, this is the best electric road bike that I've tried for 2020, and I think they're going to hold that spot for a while. They have a really proprietary motor. It's made by a company in Germany, just special for Specialized, and it's fantastic. Like I said, lightweight. It kind of looks like the Brose Drive S Mag that they have on the traditional Levo motors, but it's a little bit lighter, a little bit more compact, and again, lower power. It might sip energy a little bit more efficiently from that battery, but it actually feels very zippy, very capable for climbing, for going on this gravel, and for hitting and maintaining those higher top speeds. 28 miles per hour for real. Now, unfortunately, you can't really tell how fast you're going unless you get the optional LCD display or you're using the Specialized Mission Control smartphone app. There's no USB charging ports or anything on this, so you might want to get a backpack for your phone if you're riding all day. But the app is pretty cool. It lets you dial in the 3 levels of assist. They actually say there's 4 because they say 0 is a level. And these bikes are fun and efficient to ride without pedal assist. I mean, they're light enough that it actually feels like riding a bicycle for the first time.
It does feel much more natural, like a natural road bike experience. There's also it's more efficient than a lot of other drive systems.
It decouples.
Yeah.
And it's gears. They said there's like Teflon gearing, but gear on gear. So we've looked at the Vado at your shop. We've looked at the Como, right? And they all use some of the Brose motors as well, right?
That's right.
But they're heavier and they have this like carbon belt drive internally. So that's one of the things they've removed. And it's interesting because now they're playing that up like it's more efficient. But there was the benefit of smooth and quiet that the belt drives.
I mean, the internal belt was a real innovation over the competing Bosch system, which used a reduction gear. So it was noisier. There was less.
The older one, Gen 4, is getting better.
Exactly.
The point I'm trying to make is they're still using the Brose Drive S, but you know, I guess they're reducing some weight. Hopefully this is really reliable, similar to Bosch or Brose, but it's definitely, it's quiet enough.
That was the benefit of the belt. One of the reasons to go with the belt over the gears was to have that much quieter motor noise. But this one is remarkably quiet.
It's similar. I mean, the newest ones, like the Drive S Mag, like it's a little louder because it's a higher powered motor. So the point, we're giving you the qualitative feedback. You'll see the ride footage and stuff, but I'm going to jump back into the bike. I just wanted to communicate to you that I'm genuinely impressed. This is awesome. I've tried the the Gen 4 from Bosch this year on some of the road bikes from Bowles and others. I've also tried the Faswa motor, which was just supposed to be super tiny, and unfortunately, even though the battery is removable, there was like extra steps. You have to turn it on and put it into the frame and then adjusting it. It's not as sexy as this. Like the display panel on this, it really just has this power button and then this S button, and you press the S and it cycles through the different levels of assist. And there's no like button pad up here. They have other systems where there is a remote button pad, but I can understand why they skipped it on this, because the drop bars, your hands are going to be in different positions. There's really 3 different positions. So for me, this is enough. I haven't really even been using the app very much. I just powered on right here. We got these 10 bars. They're blue. And then there's these 3 levels of assist. It starts out with 2, and if you press it again, there we go, we're all the way up to 3. Press it once more, it goes down to 1, 2, 3. So you're just really just pressing these 2 buttons. This whole thing is IP67 rated. That's the motor, the battery pack, the display panel. What is it called? The TCU?
TCU is the top tube mounted display.
Yeah, and it's great. It's right there where you want to reach it. Some of the older models of like the Turbo Levo and stuff, they actually had it mounted on the side of the frame right there. Now it's just so much more reachable on that top tube, and you can turn off those lights. So using mission control, you can go super stealth mode on this thing. You won't be distracting yourself if you're riding at night or letting other people know that it's electric. I mean, you can hardly tell with that chainring right there. It's basically blocking the motor system. So other things that are important when you're going fast, you need good brakes. So again, we've got these awesome Shimano GRX hydraulic disc brakes with these nice 4-finger levers. We've got the paddle shifters over on the right. So there's the small paddle right here, and that's for your higher gears. And then if you do them combined, you're getting the lower gears. You can do 3 steps at once. Coming down here to the Rotors, GRX calipers right there. ICE-Tech rotors, 160 millimeters front and rear, and you can see that right here there's this aluminum sheet that's kind of bladed, so it actually directs air onto the mounting point right there closer to the hub, but it's stainless steel for the outer rotor itself. So where the calipers are grabbing, that steel, and then it goes into aluminum, and it helps to suck the heat away from the fin, the outer rotor portion, and then bring it into aluminum so it can dissipate that heat. Fantastic. One of the other really interesting things I noticed about this bike when getting all the specs is that they're using boost hub spacing. So that's 110 millimeters up front instead of 100, 148 in the rear instead of 142 or 135. Both of them are using 12 millimeter through axles. So what this means is that at higher speeds, it feels really strong. It's really responsive, and you're getting a sturdier spoke bracing angle because they're a little bit wider. So that's going to mean that your wheels aren't going out of true as frequently. You're not getting any wobble. The disc brake rotor, as you turn really hard, it's not going to be flexing and rubbing. Really fantastic. And given that there's no suspension, but you do have a carbon frame, that reduces some of the vibration. And then you've got this shock up here, the Future 2.0 that we were talking about. It gives you quite a bit of comfort, but without compromising like the travel and the movement of that front wheel.
It's not like a true suspension fork that's got, this is only 20 millimeters of travel versus say 100 or 60 to 100 on a suspension fork, but it really does the job. I mean, it feels, you rode it.
I did,
it feels
yeah.
real comfortable.
I'm impressed. I have sensitive back and neck and everything, so riding a road bike on gravel like this is not my first choice, but it's actually been it's been okay. And both of these have like the threaded, almost quick release design here. I want to call out, there's mounting points here for adding fenders. There's threaded eyelets right there, so you could add a rear rack. You would need to get a seat post collar right there, a clamp that has a mounting point as well to really support a rack properly. Same thing up front. We've got a threaded mount right there, and then some holes down there at the base of the fork for adding a fender. Really nice that they thought of that. Definitely appreciate the attention to detail that Specialized does. These are 28-hole rims, super lightweight, but they're aluminum alloy. When you get to the higher spec bikes, you get with carbon, which is kind of nice. 50 millimeters of travel on that seat post dropper, and I think this one does come with Specialized dirt pedals. I'm not sure about the standard comp carbon, whether they come with pedals or not. Sometimes the higher end bikes do not. This is the charger, by the way. Weighs about 1.9 pounds. It's a 3-amp charger, and we got lots of extra cables on here because this is like the dual charging Y splitter thing. So if you had this range extender fitted to the bike and plugged in, you could actually charge this and the bike simultaneously, because remember, that's 2 batteries. And one of the other big surprises for us was, hey, if you're someone who's shipping your bike, you're going on vacation or something, well, you can take out the main battery and then you can carry this onto a flight, 160 watt hours. You can just carry this in your backpack, and you can actually ride the bike with just this, and that would make it even lighter than it already is. So fantastic.
I mean, you'll have to go to your shop to have them remove the battery, because they do have to drop the motor out. But
right.
If you are going on a flying to bike travel, then that's one of the unique options out there. There's not a lot of bikes out there like that. There's
really, like, I remember Focus had a bike like this. They have kind of a mountain bike and stuff, but I don't think they've got as much presence in the United States anymore. So I mean, this is really phenomenal. Specialized isn't just like doing okay, they're really moving this whole sport forward in a lot of ways. And then they're bringing some of their proprietary stuff, it's cool, and it's like if you look at this really like aero design kind of on the stem right here and the future shock and all that, that's nice, but it is all kind of proprietary. So I think it's nice to have a huge network of dealers like Charlie's shop and others where you can go in and get fitted properly, have the bike tuned up, and then get support post-purchase, whether that's taking the motor off for your trip or. And I also want to show you the charging port here. This is a pretty nice position. I mean, it is right there where the crank arm passes, so it could take a little bit of it could get bumped, you know, if you're charging, the bike could tip over. There's no kickstand provisions here. It doesn't come with it. Well, maybe, yeah, okay, I was thinking maybe it has, but that's actually just for the disc brake caliper. So ideally that'd be up high so you don't have to bend over, wouldn't be there by the crank arms, but it's actually better than Specialized older charging port was down here and it had like this rubber block. And I shouldn't say older because they still use that for the Broza bikes, but I'm just such a fan of this lightweight motor system, the SL. That's what this is. That's when you hear SL, it's like super light, and they're talking about this new motor system. I'm a sporty, fairly active rider. I'm also not very heavy. I'm like 135 pounds. So for me, this is just ideal. It definitely helps me climb. It helps me get up to those higher top speeds, and the bike becomes a lot more manageable, whether I'm lifting it onto a car rack or I'm just like kind of hopping it around and playing with it. It feels like I'm in control again and I'm riding a bicycle versus I'm just a passenger on a bicycle, something that's big and heavy. You know, you might feel a little bit more planted on some of the, you know, Vado and Como bikes and stuff like the cruiser kind of style. But with something like this feels purist again. It feels like it's like a feather or something, like an instrument versus a vehicle to me. So again, kudos to Specialized. I'm very excited about the bike. You know, of course it has internally routed cables and just everything is done really well. I can't, aside from like the charging port position and maybe just the higher expense of these bikes, I really don't have too many complaints. Charlie, can you think of my, maybe the C?
I mean, probably our only real complaint is the dropper post, and it's a little finicky in terms of, it's a little heavy and it's a little finicky in terms of the adjustment. Like this particular one won't drop anymore, but
yeah, we were, it's a demo bike and it's kind of like locked up on us.
I mean, it's well received out there. Personally, I would put probably an electronic system.
And what do you think about going to the carbon up from just the standard comp aluminum alloy?
I mean, we haven't seen the aluminum ones. I mean, it's probably going to be great.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot more comfort. It's not just the weight.
Yeah.
It's that carbon fiber can be engineered to soak up the bumps a little better than aluminum.
And when you're riding further and faster on average, which you totally are with these bikes, you're paying a little, I mean, it's $1,500 more to go from the comp to the comp carbon, but I mean, once you buy one of these bikes, the other thing, I just love it. Like, how much are these batteries to replace? They're not too much, right? It's like $450.
$450 for the extra battery, and it.
But the cable is like 45 bucks.
Exactly.
They charge you, and by the way, this locks in. See, it kind of like swivels once it's on the bike to really lock in securely and not rattle and everything.
Well, it's also, I think, when you see this on there, it really does look like it's just a water bottle. So
yeah,
and they precisely made that cable so it doesn't really stand out as being an external battery. Again, adding to the whole stealthiness. Really smart.
By the way, store this in a cool, dry environment, avoid extreme heat, and because the battery is not removable, maybe store this in the shed or in your house or somewhere where it's going to be not so extreme temperatures. But coming back to this, Specialized lets you choose, do you want to just drain this or do you want to drain them in tandem? And that means that you could, it comes back to like just using these. Like you could take the battery out of the bike and you've got a slightly heavier road bike and then you've got electric whenever you want it. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, if your support vehicle is behind you, you can just toss, you know, keep on climbing the mountain and toss your old batteries back.
Charlie's my support vehicle today. He's got his bag over there. He brought the charger and everything. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, you guys hear me being excited about this. I just love how it's set up. It's modular, but keep in mind when you get the Z cage, we got one that's like right entry here. You'd probably want to get a left entry because that's the way the notch is set up on this one. It's facing forward, the notch would need to be there, and then the cable would come out on the right side. So it really is cage specific, and that's something your dealer is going to help you out with again as well. I like to try to estimate range and stuff, but it's really so dependent on the terrain, your weight, the tire pressure you're working with, all those things. But I think they say, you know, 40 to 75 miles. It really depends on.
I think reliably in that range. And I'm a big power user, and I think it's at least a good, you can bank on 40 if you're getting a workout for sure.
Now, is that just with the the main battery, not with the range extender?
Just with the main battery, yeah. And most of the guys here who are strong riders say they could get a solid 80 out of there.
Wow. And that's with the lower level assist, those 3 levels. And again, those are all adjustable. That's why range is so hard on this bike, because it's so customizable. Anyway, I'm really liking it. I'm having a lot of fun with this thing. Why don't we hop on and give it a little ride? So Charlie's saying we should take the bikes down there and ride up this spillway and do a backflip off that. What do you guys think? I don't know if I'm quite that elite.
Totally, you're ready.
This is a size large frame that I'm on. And let's see here, we'll just boot it up. Basically a full charge, even after riding here. I'm gonna take it to turbo, of course. Go for it, dude. Let's let him get out of the way for a second there. You know, you can definitely feel, the gravel here. As I was riding next to Charlie earlier, I could actually see that future shock going up and down, which was really satisfying. And you know, you take all the comfort you can get when you're on bigger gravel like this. Not something I've ever done with a traditional road bike, taking it out on a trail like this. Okay, we're on the standard comp carbon, 46 tooth chainring up front, alloy, lightweight, narrow wide tooth, so you're not gonna lose the chain, 11 to 46 in the rear, Shimano GRX derailleur. It's really performed well for me. I haven't like outpaced it. I've also been able to climb fairly well, so in terms of weight, and then also the number of gears and everything, it's a good setup. I'm definitely liking this. I really appreciate that the crank arms are set up specific to each frame, so you're not going to get the pedal strikes, and you're not going to be overreaching if you're someone who's on a smaller frame and you've got shorter legs. So I'm going to go ahead and do some riding. I'm in the highest level of assist here, level 3, so you can hear the motor producing as much noise as it ever would. Yeah, man, it stays with you. It feels like I'm past 120 RPM. I felt like I was past 28 miles per hour. I do this a lot on class 3 bikes. There's just no speedometer, so I really can't tell, but oh boy, you're definitely getting a workout when you spin like that. So I'm gonna start off without any assist and just switch through some of the gears and ride this like a traditional bike, 29 pounds. Now I'm in assist level 1. Assist level 2. And assist level 3. And I've been able to ride this without applying a lot of pressure. I noticed that the motor doesn't respond as much, so this is a multi-sensor measuring your pedal torque, your pedal cadence to give you a nice fluid response. And when I stop pedaling, it cuts out pretty quickly, so I never feel out of control. There's a bit of a hop. You go from no assist to like, and it engages once you actually apply enough pressure. Again, I'm testing in the highest level assist. Okay guys, just gonna follow Charlie, give you guys some fun views. Oh boy. test. 3 gears at once. This is awesome. Whew. Wow. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of the EVO. And this motor can support, they say, optimally 75 to 120 RPM pedaling. But in my experience, it goes above 120. Sweet. Thanks, Charlie.
I'm getting the bike lane here too.
So one of the things I've noticed riding here with Charlie, especially at the higher speeds where we're exceeding 28 miles per hour, is that you don't feel the motor cut out as much. I think partially just because the bike's so efficient, aerodynamic, but I even hear the motor still at these higher RPMs, and then it just sort of fades out once you get up to, we were probably 30 plus.
30 plus, I'd say. 33.
Want to do it again?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, lead on. Nice.
Awesome.
Mind if I trade bikes with you?
Sure.
Great. Thanks, buddy. Seat's probably going to be a little high, so I'll trade back quickly.
It's about this. No, that's fine.
I'll see you in just a sec.
A little high.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for handling that for a minute. You all right?
Yep.
Well guys, that's it for the Comp Carbon EVO. I had a blast with these bikes. I've listed out all the specs and everything back at the website, ElectricBikeReview.com. I've got a cool comparison tool there so you can compare this to some of the other road bikes for 2020. I'll be looking at some other ones from Specialized later in the year. Love y'all, ride safe, we'll see you next time.